pull the references real quick and then we'll start. Is the music loud? I never know. I don't know if I should talk through the study or just be silent. I mean, I can try to talk through the study if anybody finds that useful, but otherwise, I'll just draw. That's assuming I would even study successfully, because this one's kind of pretty difficult, I think. Yeah, I've been a guy, as far as I can remember. Okay. Well, let's talk through. Okay, then I'll pull up some references. First, let me just. Yeah, let me bring this over. So this is my reference box for pure ref, if you guys don't know. Let me know if you guys can see the reference. I don't know, am I sharing the right screen? Yeah. Pure ref is great. So this is what I put up on the second screen that I have, and I just look at the second screen for reference when I draw. I hate putting it on the same screen because it's like it builds really bad habits if you put it side by side. I might not save this stream on YouTube. I don't know. I'd rather just save like a speed paint version, and I don't want to have my YouTube look too cluttered, and also I don't want to have my full painting process on YouTube because I don't want to get trained on for the speed paint. Like, that's actually an issue. Like, I don't care if people take the images, but I find it really annoying that people are starting to train on time-lapse data. Like, that would actually annoy me. Yeah, it's not like I want to gatekeep or put it behind a paywall or anything, so. Okay, so let's see. So I don't know if you've seen Jamie, I don't know if you've seen these videos where they try to fake time-lapse videos of painters. So they take time-lapse videos of people who are trying to prove that they're the ones painting it, and then they train on that so that you can throw in an AI image and it would generate like a fake process video. It's whack as heck. Hello. Yeah, I mean, it won't replicate the work, and it won't replicate the style very well either. But that's where I draw the line between being annoying and being fine with people taking my stuff. Like, if people steal my stuff, I'm not gonna go out of my way to take down all my paintings. I think the music's a little bit loud for me. Okay, maybe I need to learn what decibel the music needs to be at. So yeah, a little bit about the AI stuff. I don't like it, but I can't stop everybody from doing it. So I draw the line at putting up my speed paints. Like, I have other ways to prove it, and if someone wants to record my whole stream and take it, then I can't stop that either. But even then, it's just an annoyance. So that's kind of why I don't want to put my entire stream up on YouTube permanently. Yeah, they don't include the UI, and I think the UI would actually screw it up quite a bit. But it still feels uncomfortable to put that up there. So yeah, I'm just gonna go talk about the art itself, or what I'm studying today. So the study is on my Discord server. It's week 24. I have I think all 1 to 23 should be up there too. You can go look at the studies that the server and I have done. So I put these up every week, and people who join can study along with me, but mostly I pick them because I want to study them. And I feel like I can learn some stuff from it. Or they could be photos or different subjects. The Discord link is in the description for this stream. I paint with Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint. By the way, I might AFK here and there sometimes, but I'll try to be quick on the study. So the artist here, I mean, this is obviously a photo, and Rem is best girl, so I'm going to try to draw Rem. And this artist is Danny Lilai. I mean, you can see it in the weekly study. I have the description. You can see the artist. It's one of my favorite artists. And now that I've seen what oil paint looks like for the first time in my life, I can see that like it's pretty similar. Like it has similar quirks or characteristics. Yeah, but if you have any questions or want me to clarify things, just type it in the chat and I'll read it. If I don't catch up, you can ping me. So let's see. To study this, I want to. Oh, CSP. No, I have my custom brushes. I make my custom brushes, but really they're just meme brushes that you can make on your own. You can also just use the default one. Doesn't really matter. It might matter a little bit for this study because I'm studying texture. So the way that this artist does portrait, I really like. He renders in a very small range. So you can see that when it peaks to white or when it drops to black, he just covers it with a very solid color. I guess you can call it negative space if you want, but I don't like to put a name on things. Not even the basic terms, just call it what it looks like. We're doing studies today, so the stream title is week 24 study, and it's just week 24 study on a specific artist that I like right now today. So the artist has very efficient brush strokes. You can see here, it's like there's very little strokes. So this right here, for sure, it's mixer brush in Photoshop, 100%. But I'm gonna try not to use mixer brush. I don't think it's necessary, but it does make things like a little bit faster if you know what you're doing. And to be honest, I wouldn't know how to use mixer brush too efficiently because I don't use it too much. But it's faster to get textures in or like different color within one brush stroke. Basically, it samples a certain area and then it stamps it over and over. I don't use smudge brushes because the smudge mechanism in Photoshop is terrible. Like, not only does it lag at higher resolution, it also, like, it's somewhat unpredictable. And it's better to use a brush that's predictable than to use something that you don't know what it's gonna do when you put it down. Yeah, it might look nice, like the texture might look fancy and stuff, but it doesn't help you paint the fundamentals. So the more important part, like this texture looks really nice. I think we can agree. But the fundamental part is like this area here, where he's cutting into forms, and the gradient where he's describing like how the curve works based on the lights. And if you get that wrong, it doesn't matter how fancy your textures look. And you can get that right with the most simple brushes. So this up here is mostly like, it's more like a, I don't know the word for it. It's like almost random strokes. They're in the direction, like you can kind of guess the direction for it, but there's not a lot of technical aspects here. I don't sketch before I paint. Like, I think it's slower and it doesn't really help me. If you draw at a higher resolution, the smudge brush will lag, especially if you try to do like a big smudge area. So I draw at like 8 to 10,000 pixels wide, and if I use a smudge brush that's like 500 pixels, it's gonna just blow up my computer. So yeah, here I'm just picking out points I want to remember when I'm doing the studies. So here we have like a difference between, music kind of loud. Difference between textures. So the skin is softer, so the texture is less apparent. So both lighter or less texture and a smaller range of values. And then we have a really like noisy texture for everything else background. It's very similar to one of the artists that I was following recently that uses, you know, most people render focal points and then they leave the non-focal points kind of empty, kind of like here, where the background is like really solid color and then the foreground or the points of interest is sharper. But this artist sometimes flips like the hierarchy, so the focal point is softer and the background is really sharp and really busy, and it will work. It's just now we're breaking compositional rules, but breaking it like in a very systematic way. And you can see that there's a directional, like texture is directional, so you can use the directional textures to separate the foreground and the background. So even though this is really blurry, but because this is going this way, this is going this way, like the background is going slanting to the left and then the hair is slanting to the right here, you can have a pretty good separation. So we'll put that in. The highlight's kind of nice. So very nice shapes for highlights, but not a lot of detail. And like these, I don't want to call it fake details, but they're like really fast patterns to kind of like impressionistic way of putting in details. We'll have that too, and a little bit of sketch lines to do like form, to clear up form, because he's not using texture much between this and this. I think that might be why he put in the line. I'm just guessing how he thinks. So if we know how he thinks, then we can paint like him. Anywhere from 1 to like 10 references. Right now I'm pulling 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 references to get a feel of his habits and like his, like what he likes. I need to know what he likes and how he thinks as he paint. Because if you copy pixel by pixel, like let's say we look at this picture and we copy it pixel by pixel, we'll get it really close, but we wouldn't know how he would paint other subjects if we don't look at multiple references. I use 1 to 5 layers depending on what I'm painting. So if I need clear separation between background and subject, I would use 2 layers. If I sometimes I use a different layer for certain parts of the hair to get like clean breaks. And then if I try to change something, I'm not sure if I want to change it or not, then I might add another layer on top of that. But then I merge down really quickly. Like once I'm sure that's what I want to keep, I merge down. Yeah, let's see, where was I? So a lot of different saturations, and this saturation is really, or hue, the difference in hue is going to be really hard to replicate with a single brush, without mixer. Because if you try to paint this without mixer, I think I'll have to manually color in these differentiations. Like there's red, there's green in one single brush stroke. That's like the biggest upside for a mixer brush. I'm not 100% sure what the, like all the advantages of mixer brushes, but there's definitely some. Like you can paint a single form, like a round form. This is like a cylinder right here, this block right here. I can't draw on pure ref. It's kind of annoying. Maybe I should move it to Photoshop. Yeah, let's move it to Photoshop. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite paintings. It's very similar to how Yuming Lee like paints, I think, and I like his more because he uses a bit more texture for composition than Yuming Lee does. Don't tell him I said that. Whoever has speed dial or whoever has Yuming Lee on speed dial, do not call him. Be very sad if he's mad at me. Okay. maybe I can draw stuff. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah. So I do these breakdowns every time before I study so that I can focus what I'm studying for. You can just go and copy without thinking, but that's less effective. This is not my art. It's Danny Lila. Okay, let me just write that down so there's no misunderstanding. I think Lila is one word. Okay, so not my art. Okay. We're just studying this today, and I need to take some time to break down what it's like. I don't think I can get texture as sharp as this. Oops, please. You see this texture right here is really sharp. It would take me at least 4 or 5 different paint strokes to get one of those. And I will tweak the paintbrush setting a little bit just for this. Smudge tool is laggy and it's very unpredictable, so I don't like it. But the benefit of texture brush or mixer brush specifically for Photoshop, and it's not replicatable in Clip Studio, is stuff like this is one brush stroke, but you can see how it's like a cylinder, like light on one side, and then shadow on the other. And you can kind of do that, but you can't do it with so much texture without mixer brush. I don't know if Lila is his last name, but brush. Yeah, I use some troll brush in Photoshop. So this is my brush. I have to show it every stream, but oh, that's not it. This one. So that's my main brush. It looks like this. Call it what you want. It's just my brush. I also have the whatever brush. If you can read this. So when people ask me what brush I use, I can just say I just use whatever brush. It doesn't really matter. Brush. Okay. So where was I? He doesn't clean his edges that much. Like you can still see. He just does it once, like one stroke, but he leaves some texture in between, but you can't really see it when you zoom out because of how much difference the flavor of the texture is. Like it's green on one side with really like spiky, and then it's soft on the other side with like pink color, almost opposite. Ooh, this is really nice. Really strong texture, directional, almost like a gradient from here to here, but then really sharp this edge. I mean, really sharp this way, and then gradient this way. That's pretty nice. Okay. A lot of hue differences. I don't know it's worth the time to copy this. The like changing from purple to red and to yellow, green. I won't worry about the canvas texture, but that's gonna be hard to get. Okay, so I think I can start. Oh right, before I start, I think we're gonna, or I'm going to be more focused in the beginning about blocking. It's like you can kind of cut out this entire face as a block. And his blocks has a lot of details. Like there's a angle here, kind of an angle here. Like that's a stroke that he made, consciously made. So he's pretty careful about the overall shape. Let me see. Yeah, that. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in the blocking too. Like he's making these angles, and it's like, I think keeping something like this in my painting would be good to study the style, because then you're picking up the habits. So like, why does he make this? Why does he make this angle right here? It's because he wants to show the form, like on top of the nose bridge. Like that flat area on top of the nose bridge, maybe. Ooh, stuff like this is good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have to worry about the texture too much, but okay. Let's try to paint. Let me open up a different one. All right. So what I'm gonna do is lower the stamp rate of the brush itself, so I could get some gaps between the stamps, and you can find that basically the spacing. So I'll change the spacing a little bit. So I'm not sure, like I don't care about the pose or anything. Bad habits get from... The bad habits you get from putting reference on the same screen is you start to copy one-to-one. So, like, let's say you have this reference, and you try to draw it. You typically people draw it like this, right? If you have a screen tablet, or even if you don't have a screen tablet, you just put the reference one-to-one and you try to draw one-to-one. You might think, oh, let me just line it out, like, if you're familiar with Barg or any type of measuring, you start drawing like this, right? Like you'll see the top of the head is kind of in the center. You pick out the lines, like the obvious lines. Oops. Right, that's what you guys would typically do when you're referencing. I've tried drawing on the phone, but I don't see any benefit to try to limit myself to a tiny screen. So once you get to this part, some people get to, like, you see something's wrong and you try to fix it, but instead of trying to fix it, based on like rough observation in relative space, like relative locations of things. So how I would fix it is, oh, I think this looks kind of off, or like the face looks off. Why would it be off? Then I'll look at the big angles. Like clearly, this is less slanted than this, so I might adjust it a little bit. I'll just do this. I'll correct it. Like now it's closer. But if you're inexperienced, you might feel more comfortable with gridding. Like if you guys ever done grids, like you basically you do this, right? Like you separate it into, you do this over the image, and you can get really tight grids, and you just go, you kind of graph it out. And this is one way to do it. You'll say, oh, the nose here is kind of middle between this and this, and it's not touching, and I'm touching here, so I must be wrong. So let me just change that. Let's move it up, and now it's more accurate, right? And then the brow is under this line, and yeah, we're pretty spot on there. And then maybe this angle is, like, we can measure the slope here to here, and then we can do this, right? And we can correct this. Yes, it's used for traditional work pretty often, but I would say gridding is like a handicap, where if you don't have really strong observational skills, you will use a really tight grid. The problem with gridding is your images might have things that are all in the right position. Like I can get this ear to the exact position. Actually, I drew this line a bit too over the right, but let's say I get this to the exact position. And I keep doing it for all the details. Not only is it like slow, it also makes your like copy study really rigid. And not only the copy study, but what if you wanted to change something a little bit? Now you're getting really uncomfortable because something's off grid. So with gridding, you can only copy what you see. And the reason why you don't want to put it side by side is because of this exact reason. Let's say you know gridding is not really good practice, and I would die on this hill. Gridding is not good practice. Obviously, it's better than tracing, which is also really bad practice. But gridding is not far from tracing. I've studied Walap. I have not studied Ranja yet because his stuff is like really heavy rendering. I'm gonna need like a weekend for it. And I like more painterly feels, where Ranja, I guess it's still painterly, but he focuses a lot on rendering. And I personally don't focus that much on rendering. So Yeah. Anyway, the really bad part about drawing side by side is even if you know you're not supposed to grid, let's say you have a good habit of studying and you don't grid, so you don't have all these. Unconsciously, when you draw side by side, you start gridding in your head, and you'll just start drawing, and if something looks wrong, you just look to the left and be like, oh, is this the same height? You might drag a line over, right? You might just drag one over to check. That's not gridding technically, but it's the same practice. Yeah, overall accuracy is less important than relative position and proportions. And yeah, grading can get you 100% accuracy, but you lose something, out of it. Yeah, like the looseness of painting is pretty important to me. You'll lose that looseness of painting unless you paint over it again. I measure by, I still grab big angles. Like, if I wanted this line, I can grab, like, the relative angle. Like, I'll just get it until it looks like it. And I'll see, like, oh, how big is the head versus the cat or something. So I'll be like, here's the cat, here's the head. Does it look right? You just keep pushing the logic to smaller and smaller parts. But you have to make sure the bigger parts are correct, are accurate. As accurate as you need it to be. So, like, it's easy for people to go into details, like you might look at the cat, or like you're drawing the cat, you're like, oh, is the shape of the eye correct? Like, you might draw, what the heck? You might draw an eye like this, and you get really caught up with getting the shape correct, but that's not really that important at a early stage. I would say that's not even important in mid stage. Like, the shape of the eye is not important, the location of the eyes. So it's more important for me to do this. Like, that's good enough for like anchoring something. Yes. So you don't want to be like graphing the painting. I mean, you can as a practice if that's what you're trying to practice, like perfect accuracy. I think it's not a bad thing to practice sometimes, but when you draw real life stuff, you can't. I don't know, you can take a picture and place it side by side, but when you're referencing real life stuff, I think you get more information from looking at the thing and then coming back to draw it than taking a picture and doing side by side. I do not keep the lives. I keep some lives uploaded, but not this one. It's not going to be uploaded because this one's going to be a study. Okay, let's draw. No, this one's going to be a Ren. For sure. Okay. I might miss some questions when I start to draw, but I'll comment on what I'm looking at when I'm drawing. So, or what I'm paying attention to when I'm doing the study. So maybe this will help you guys when you do studies with me. So the most important part right now, because I don't know the shape, I mean, I can block out the shape, but I'm not sure about the shape yet. So it's more important for me to get the color palette to something he would use. So I want to know what kind of colors he might use. So I know he's really light on this color wheels too strong. So it's like really light on the skin. Yeah, that's not enough texture for me. Okay, there we go. So this kind of looks like skin for him, but he always puts like a hint of green and pink. So he fluctuates, like he picks this might be the midtone for his skin, but his hue has a pretty big range. Like it has a flux. So I'll add that in later. I think it's like a little lighter. It's more on the red side. So that's hit. High saturated pink. And then he also goes to the other side to pick some greens and blues out, but not too much. Let's use color dynamics. Sometimes I start with the palette, sometimes I start with the shape. So right now I'm not studying a particular painting. I'm studying how he paints. So there's no reason to start with the shape because I don't know what shape he's going to use. So, or rather, I don't know what shape I want. So his darks are pretty desaturated, I think. Yeah, like it's near black, so. But then when it comes out of that lower 2%, I think he spikes the saturation. So if you see the fish drawing, the black is really just black, I think. A lot of gradients in the background. And then when it comes out of that bottom 2%, I think he just, I mean, he basically goes this way on the color grid. So let's go. Yeah, I'm studying Danny Lai Lai. His it's week 24 study on my Discord server. But I really want to block out, like I want to see what the picture wants to look like. So I'll just block in shapes until I get what I want. I might do a pretty close reference to the REM picture or the photo. His skin and cloth, like white cloth, is really close in color. And he puts saturations on the edges to show that it's skin versus, you know, something that's not red toned. So I think we can do the middle color. Ooh, use spike. Yeah, the hue variation in the background is actually really strong. It's just very, very localized. So let's do that. I'm gonna keep the study a little bit simpler than it would otherwise. So I want to study the style first, but I don't want to create anything too different from my references. So I'll use the photo reference, but in the style of Danny. No, I never paint Ray, because Rem and Ganyu is my favorite. So for the darks, he drops to dark really sharply. Like if something hits a certain level of shadow, he just hits it with dark, like that, basically. But then, yeah, so he basically skips the top 50 to 75% of the values, I think. So you can put in your own. I'm not too worried about putting my own mark on this one because, yeah, I can always do that later as I learn. But I don't want to complicate the painting. A lot of people are very like I want to say, adamant about putting their own style when they're studying. I'm really against that. Especially like I would have two phases of study. I would do like a phase one where I study strictly what the artist would draw with no deviation that I can think of. And then phase two would be how I would interpret how he would draw subjects that he's never drawn before. And sometimes I combine those two phases, but then some people take it too far and they're like, oh, how would he draw? But I also want to put in my style. So that always confuses me. I was like, are you trying to make something original or are you trying to study the artist? It's very hard to do both at the same time. Like, how do you study someone's style without doing the style if you're gonna mix in your own things in it? Like, don't mix too much things. You can take different approach to get to the same result, but you do have a goal. Like, you want to draw like them first before you modify it too much. Like, I'm already having trouble drawing like them. I don't want to throw in other things. So how does he draw blue? How does he draw blue? Yeah, he draws blue really weird. And for other colors, he doesn't vary the hues so much, but for blue, he varies a lot. Thanks for dropping by. Ooh, I really hope this doesn't turn out terrible. He always has like a horizontal cut over the painting, like he crosses the composition. I don't know how to describe it. I'll try to follow it. I don't even know who Frank Rosetta is. One character. I don't know what you mean by one character in different style. Really want to avoid using mixer, but it's tempting. I can't get the same density. Yes, I am painting Rem. So I think I'm gonna paint closed eyes just like how he does, but he cuts into his shadows with like really high saturation red. High saturation but pretty bright still. Like very high value red. Red or orange. I don't think it drops to the purple side. It's like orange side. I wish I had a third screen. Yeah, I do master studies like that, but I like to break it to different parts. Not do it all in one go, usually. Yeah, having trouble right now. That's... I don't know how this guy draws. Maybe I should focus on the bigger picture instead. I'm not too worried about mm, the framing and the color. Yeah, the framing I'm gonna keep pretty close to the photo reference of Rem, and the color palette I'm already taking from him. So I don't. It's not like I'm inventing a new swatch or new palette. So like he has that work cut out for him or for me. All I have to do is like I definitely don't want to invent a new preference in color palette. I just want to take his right now because I'm studying him. So no deviations there. Let's try. So he uses opposite colors to build his edge. So Rem has blue hair, so we should be using orange, I think. So in one of the pictures, he actually has white background on skin because it's like a pillow. Wonder if I should do that. What if we... cut into the jaw first? I think most of this stream is going to be me making mistakes, so... little closer. I think the color palette is correct, but the shape is really bad. Or at least not something he would use. I think it's going in the right direction, but it looks so bad right now. I draw guys sometimes, but it's not something I like drawing. Yeah, I'm like trying to process his painting right now, and my brain has like 2 transistors, so both of them are kind of occupied, so I don't talk. Was it? I heard it somewhere. The wheel is spinning, but the hamster is dead. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Oh God, is. Let me check. My internet has been being stupid. Okay, let me check the upload. If the upload is too much, I might just... Oh no. Yeah, my upload is terrible right now. Yeah, my... Oh, that's so annoying. Yeah, my internet's been having a problem. I'm combining like 2 steps of the study. The shoulder right now is not done, but it's saturated because the way he does shadows for skin is really high saturation, which it's almost like subsurface scattering, but it, to be fair, it's not this much. It's I was supposed to dial this down a little bit. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I think this might be close. Don't know how he does edges. I know a lot of the face is in shadow, but he always does. I don't know if he always does it, but he often does like light on face, but cast shadow on face as well. So let me try that. Let's try to use the last 2 brain cells to guess the lighting on the face if we were to change it a little bit. So he has these really sharp. I don't even know if you guys can hear me because the internet is crapping out. So he hits these really sharp saturations on like lips or uh, edge of forms, and I bet if I were to put these in right now, it would significantly make it look like his stuff. Let's try that. So stuff like oh God, please. Okay. Like this red here. Oh, it's not enough contrast because he doesn't use red on all the skin. He uses yellow. That's... So I'm keeping the value the same and hitting the face with yellow instead. Instead of red. This one here. Color of the shadow is more red and orange. Sometimes it's not because it's not based on physics. Sometimes it's like stylistic choice. But the red here is because of the skin tone. I think is because he wants to exaggerate skin tone subsurface scattering. So the faces that don't receive light are blue, and then the faces that are on the edge of receiving light are red. So like he's showing blood under the skin, kind of. I think is a pretty reasonable way to guess. So I'll do that. So if that rule is consistently applied and it looks like it, then maybe that's how he thinks. I'm not sure. Blue here. So one thing I notice is the roughness I have on my painting, my study right now is much rougher overall than his, but he chooses where to be rougher and where to be smooth. So might have to fix that later. Most rules in art you can break. Just depends on how you break them. This is Danny Lai Lai. It's he's not dead yet, so current artist. Having so much trouble. I think I'm being too careful about the colors that I use. Like, I don't think he picks too carefully. Like, he's picking the colors intuitively. And I should do that too. It would be pointless if the study keeps it loose and I try to go too tight on the rendering. The yellow here is really ugly, so I don't think he would have picked this kind of yellow for this particular painting. At least not this dark. I think. I haven't tried heavy paint. Actually, no, I have. I tried it once. It's okay. Honestly, I don't think the software matters too much, unless the software is really, really whack. But it was okay when I tried it, so. I feel like he's way better at controlling edges than me. So, change that. Well, I painted in MS Paint before. Well, it's not too bad, I think. Pretty stuck. I will try to go to AX, but I'm not sure. I mean, they rejected me once, they can reject me again. So I don't really play games anymore. I guess Photoshop, if you count that as a game, or Clip Studio Paint. I think I'm getting like like a slight intuition on how he paints a little bit now, but still pretty far away. There's so much more details. Like every time I start studying someone, the more you study them, the more nuance you find. It's just so much. I mean, I do play rhythm games. I also like Astroneer a lot. That's why I kind of drew the Space Ganyu. But I haven't played it in a long time. Painterly style, I guess I've always tried to go for it, but I wouldn't say I'm successful at it in the beginning. I don't know if I'm successful at it now, actually. can control his darks a little better. More clear on where he needs it. Whereas mine's like really muddy. His stuff, even though it's like really blended, it doesn't look muddy at all. So skill issue, I guess. I think I need fewer brush strokes. I didn't know where I started, but I need fewer brush strokes to get the same shape, or else it would just be muddy. Like, you can't even do it in more strokes because all this stuff would just look like it's grounded. Better. I don't think his painting style is like Sui Ishida. Danny is a bit more intuitive than Sui, which makes it a little harder to learn. Not that one is better than the other. It's just there's more technical structure in Sui's painting versus this guy's. No, I don't recommend doing, or I don't recommend against like a sketch layer if that's what you want to do. End result. Usually. So hard, what the heck? I have no idea what medium he uses, but he does paint digital, so... I have an easier time studying Leyendecker than this guy, so... It's a pretty difficult one to study. The heck? I just have no idea what I'm doing. It looks so simple too. Yeah, I mean, not claimed, but just... Well, I guess, yeah, copyright claimed where they don't let me put the live video. I don't care because I'm not leaving this one live anyway, and Maple Story doesn't really get flagged as far as I've seen. Painted so many places of this painting already. Okay. I'm using a really basic brush. It's not a mixer brush. I'm trying not to touch mixer brushes right now. dying from this really dirty texture. Do I have to use mixer brush? So annoying. Yeah, like that's the exact same texture. So I could probably carve edges like this. Studies are like, what am I at right now? They're usually like 4 hours. I'm at 1.5. Ugh, I hate having to use mixer. But I can see how some of these textures are not achievable, or rather it's very inefficient to do without mixer. Like I can get all the same shapes, but it wouldn't have the same feel. I'll make an exception for Danny. It's Do I have to say one thing? Mixer brush does feel slightly like oil, given my 2-hour experience with oil brush, or like oil in real life. Ooh. Okay, let's get serious now. No more messing around. Huh. So you can't opacity like pressure on mixer brushes, which is kind of a, I think that would be a downside for a lot of people, but brush. You need color on the canvas. Like, you need your palette to be pretty set before you actually get started with mixing. It doesn't actually mix. That's a misnomer. So the mixer brush actually doesn't mix colors. Like, it has no blending at all. Even with the same tools, I cannot draw like him. I wonder if using this would actually help me with oil painting in real life that I have no experience with. A bad way to phrase what? Oh, thanks. Thanks for joining. You can stay and watch me struggle to study this artist. Oh my god. What am I doing? I post on Instagram and Twitter. And my Discord server, which isn't really social media. I'm struggling way too much with this study, but I kind of knew that I was going to struggle on this artist. Especially if I skip studying steps like this. Punching above my weight class. Overpainting a lot of my previous strokes. So basically, I just... A lot of the beginning was to test stuff. It could have been done a lot faster had I knew what I was doing. Any tips on painting with... That's like the biggest question you can ask. I would say do photo references for studies. It's a good way to start. How far do I visualize? It's a... Like, I don't know how you want me to answer that, like in terms of time or in terms of stroke counts. Right now, I'm not visualizing too much ahead because I can't predict very well how this brush works. But overall image, I can see what I hope the final image looks like. Whether or not I can get there is another story. Oh God. Like I still have to learn how the mixer brush functions. And this is the most basic looking mixer brush, so that's good at least. Oh God. Okay. So closer, I guess. It's Rem, yeah. Best girl. I mean, who's Rem? I don't paint. Oh, I mean, I started painting traditionally last week. Yes, but so far I just do digital. Ooh, okay. Okay, I think I noticed something. It's pretty important. I think he hits the base, like the sketch, I don't call it sketch, with some very light gradient, and then he can pick those gradients on the mixer so that he can hit forms with mixer brush. Oh my God. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm gonna finish this study on stream because it's taking me too long, and my internet is crapping out. It's easier to learn some fundamentals through lines instead of painting, and I've been drawing for about 15 years. 15 and 16, something like that. The basic mixer brush. Actually fairly difficult to use. I've not made an art book. I don't know if I have enough pieces I would want to put in an art book to make one. I think the crop is the issue. Okay, I think I'm really stuck on this study. I'm like maybe 30-40% there. And I will probably eat food first before I come back. I won't stream the other half or whatever, but I will probably do more than one study of Danny. And if I get like some kind of epiphany, I might post about it and whatnot. I still haven't posted about the Leyendecker study yet because there's stuff I found, but the Leyendecker study is easier than this one for me, at least, because Leyendecker is really heavy on fundamentals. So as long as your fundamentals like strong, it's easy to study Leyendecker and John Singer Sargent. Because I think a lot of old masters have strong fundamentals and it shows through, and they don't put too much stylization on it. The stylization is because of like tool limitations, and that's easier to deal with than this. I might make a video on Leyendecker, but I'm also short on time because I want to draw more. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions right now, I'll answer and I'll go off the stream. But oh, I got like maybe 10 minutes. Otherwise, though, I'll just close the stream. I don't even know if the stream is working correctly because of how laggy I am. I draw like when I have lunch at work or if uh weekends or after work, like after like 7 p.m. PST. So I'll take a break and I'll go back to drawing. I might stream on my Discord. I don't know. If it's not, yeah, like if I'm just fumbling around like this, I usually just stream on Discord. But would an oil paintbrush work well? This kind of like oil paintbrush in real life. I don't know what oil paintbrush digital means because digital tries to mimic traditional but in a very weird way. So I don't know if it's meaningful to compare digital brushes to traditional medium. You can get really close, but the way you use it is different. Then I can't answer that question because I don't know what digital paintbrushes do in general. I'm just using a mixer brush because that's how he achieves the texture, but if you have other mediums, other programs that has a brush that gives you a lot of texture in one stroke, you can try to use that, but this is like strictly for style studying. If you try to do this and you try to study fundamentals with this kind of brushes, it actually makes it more difficult. I'm pretty much 100% self-taught. I have zero formal training except the college class I took for drawing 101 that I had to take and I hated it. So no. What inspired my art? When I started painting 15 years ago, I looked at anime. I wanted to draw anime, but then I found some painters that are Western painters, Western digital painters that migrated from traditional medium, so they're trained on traditional, but they paint on Photoshop and Painter X like it's traditional, and I really like that. So I just jumped into that on the first year, and I been screwing around for 10 years, and then I started training more seriously for the last 4 or 5. I think whatever skill I have right now is mostly gained in the last 4 years. Oh, the teacher wasn't good, let's put it this way. And knowing what I know now, I definitely know the teacher is not good. I've never tried Rebel. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I paint a lot slower on stream. I would say like 50% slower. So if a painting takes me 2 hours, it's gonna take me 3 on stream. Because I read the chat and I get distracted. But it's not a huge difference. Yeah, I actually started taking an oil class just because I wanted to play with oil. And I will probably take like... I took 1 class, and I might take like 3 more sessions, and then I'll just paint on my own because I don't like classes. No, I think this study is like pretty bad right now. Like it looks too far away from the style that I'm trying to go for, from Danny's style, and I need to work on this. It's gonna take me a bit of time to study him. So like I have to know how he thinks and how he paints, like what his habits are and what his like how do I put this? Like muscle memory. I have to pick up his muscle memory. with how he picks color, how he picks samples and shapes and stuff. I've never used Procreate because I don't have an iPad. What's your Anderson's? I don't really have a very complicated goal. I just want to be my favorite artist, which means I'll be dead before I can reach that goal. I don't know, because I'm not an animator, so... I would say using a regular hard round brush, or just round brush in general, is a really good way for beginners to learn, because you cut out all the bullshit with the textures. You don't need to think about textures, and you can focus on the fundamentals like form, lighting, shapes, and structure. And I guess lines. I'm trying to learn how to do lines better now, but... Oh, thanks. So yeah, simple brush, better for fundamentals, but then when you're getting to where you know you're intermediate or advanced, then I would say that's a good place to start messing with textures. There's really no reason for someone who's new to art to use mixer brush or anything, because there's a lot of complexity in texture and how to use texture. There's like a lot of theory on how to use texture, and if you throw that in, you're not going to improve much. Drawing is fun. I can draw for all the hours I am awake. It's not... There's never really a thought of giving up just because it's fun. Like, why would I? It's kind of like, oh, have you ever given up on sleep or eating food? Now I eat food when I'm hungry. Why would I give up on it? It's not like I'm allergic to Photoshop. Like, if I'm allergic to food, maybe I'll stop eating it, but the yogurt kind. Come on, I got like 5 more minutes. Max. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I'll close the stream for now. If you guys want to see me draw more on this particular study, I'll probably stream this on Discord later, so you'll see me finish it later, but it might be late for you guys. I don't know where you are in the world, but I'm Pacific time. Yeah, that we want to study. Danny Lila is one of the artists I want to study the most. I just didn't think I have the skills to do it, which I'm right. Don't have enough skills to do it right now effectively, but I think if I just keep cranking at this for a couple, or keep studying him for like maybe 2-3 more days, I can get a lot of it down, but it's a slow process. No, Leyendecker is not a good way to study fundamentals. I said Leyendecker has a lot of fundamentals that shows through his paintings. I would not say go study Leyendecker for fundamentals. I would say go study photos for fundamentals. Leyendecker has a lot of stylization, but those stylization have basis in fundamentals, and if you know fundamentals really well, you can pick up Leyendecker's style really well, like really easily. Yeah, I learned a lot by studying different artists, and I sometimes go back to restudy artists because I learn more as I study them. Like, when you get better, you start noticing more and more things, more different nuances of the artist. Sometimes when you're starting, you'll copy shapes. You just copy shapes, and you get really good at copying shapes. But that doesn't mean you pick up why they put the shapes in the first place. So there's a difference between you can draw a specific shape really well versus now you know why they drew that specific shape because of structure or lighting or whatever. That's why it's worth studying it's worth studying the same artist multiple times throughout your art career because you notice more things. I spend about 2-3 hours a day on art average. Sometimes I spent 0, sometimes I spent 10 hours, 12 hours. I think the longest I've drawn is like probably like 20 hours, 24 hours straight. I started drawing like 16 years ago. I don't really do tutorials because I think they're too narrow. Art is not my job. I'm an accountant. I just do the art for fun. Mostly as a hobby. I don't know how much delay is on the voice, the stream, but yeah, I don't want to close it too early. Let's see. Alright, I'm gonna head out. So, thanks for joining.